Hey, welcome everybody to The Deep Thought. My name's Hasib, and let's get into our topic for the day. So today, guys, I want to discuss racism, and I want to discuss it in detail because of everything that's been going on within our current society today. This includes the whole thing from the protests all the way up to the riots, and the reason I want to discuss it is because it's becoming more and more of a topic for division. People are using it to really divide themselves. Now, I want to talk about this because it's something that I could really I could relate to and understand because I have been on the receiving end of racist and derogatory remarks and kind of relatively the same type of hate that we all believe comes from the folks that we believe are racist. So when we think about racism in today's culture, in today's society, we think about it in a myriad of different ways, but I really just want to talk about it from the perspective of what's going on right now. And what's going on right now is that a lot of people are are divisively arguing about whose form of racism is correct and why people are racist, and we're really antagonizing one another because we're trying to paint anybody who disagrees with us or our form of racism, our definition of racism, as a bad guy, as a terrible person. And that's just not true. Now, racism exists because we've not only plastered it everywhere, but we also talk about it to such an extreme and to such a degree that we almost glorify it for others. Now, I know this is going to sound a little nuts, but it's exactly true. It's what we do. We talk about this subject so much instead of teach about it, teach how essentially to be better people, not necessarily be less racist. And this is, I think, where we actually have a really big problem. We don't educate people about how to be more compassionate, caring, emotionally intelligent, and capable of understanding another human being is just another human being. And instead, what we do is when we educate children and we allow them to grow up, we allow them to see all sorts of type of propaganda, all sorts of different types of messages, essentially that state things that people of different types of colors or nationalities are terrible people and that they're this, that, and the other. We just paint them in a terrible, terrible picture. And then we spread these types of messages on the news, we spread it online, we spread it through chat rooms, and then we spread it to our own children, our own offspring. Because there are parents out there that speak about how much they hate a specific nationality to a certain degree, or another nationality to an extreme. And this is where I think it's very important for us to begin educating people on emotional intelligence and being able to see individual humans as just individual humans. Because a lot of the times when we consider or call somebody a racist, it's honestly just a way for us to say that because you don't come to the degree or of the extreme that I do, then you must be a racist. If you don't believe in my form of racism or my extreme form of racism, or at least the way that I perceive extreme racism, then you yourself must be a racist because you don't believe in it like I do. Now, racism can be, the term itself, the concept itself can be eradicated. And there is a certain method that we could use, and it's literally education. It's the easiest method we have available right now. And not necessarily talking about how the whites enslaved the blacks, or how the Arab nations enslaved everybody, or how the Romans enslaved all these other people, and all this, etc., etc. Because all that stuff is in the past. And all of these things happened in the past. So we can't continue to live collectively as a human race in the past. Because if we do that, we will never be here in the present to make way for the future. And instead, what we will do is continue on a loop relentlessly in the same way that our ancestors did. So going forward, we need to educate people. We need to start educating ourselves and each other about how to treat one another, and really dissolve the idea that there is any type of divide between any human being on this planet and another. Now, we have plenty of things that we use to divide ourselves. We use color, and we call it race. And that doesn't exist, because there's only one race in the world, and that's the human race. There isn't a divided race. There isn't a white race. There isn't a brown race. There isn't a Jewish race. There isn't a Muslim race. There isn't an Asian race. We're all the same. But there's all these different types of methods that we've created, unintentionally so, because I guarantee us as human beings, because we love to categorize things. We do. But we don't mean to do it in a way that, or at least we didn't intend to do it in a way that we actually created the division that we did. Because of this, we need to, again, I reiterate the point, educate ourselves and each other to care for one another and to understand each other truly. Because the less time we spend on educating ourselves, the more time there are miscommunications. There is miseducation out there all the time because of the propaganda that others are spewing. The ignorance and the hatred that they have put out there is going to taint our youth, the children of the next generation. And we just can't allow that to happen. So what can we do? Well, we can educate. We can educate each other. We can tell each other. We need to start looking at things from not only our own individual perspectives, but others' perspectives of what it means to be a person of color, a person of different nationalities. Because once we start realizing that everybody is the same, we'll start treating each other the same, with kindness, care, compassion. There won't be this thing called racism, or this fear that divides individuals and pits them against each other. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk. Remember to like and share it with your friends, family, everybody. And I hope you guys take care. Bye-bye.